All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you right there, just like me right here. So yesterday, Lindsey Buckingham said the quiet part out loud. He certainly didn't include a lot of what he said during this interview with Uncut Magazine. He didn't say a lot of that stuff during the whole CBS This Morning interview that he did, because I think at that point he was trying like crazy to keep that olive branch out there. His, admission to the interviewer then that he had no idea what was going on. Like, why was he ousted from Fleetwood Mac? Well, he knew even then, because all of the things that he talks about yesterday were happening prior to the interview with CBS, and basically from 2014, when they were trying to get this band to record some music, and Stevie Nicks kept saying no. And then eventually it got to the point where they had all this material. She had nothing. She didn't have any music. And they made it into a Buckingham McVie album. It could have still been a Fleetwood Mac album if Stevie Nicks said, you know what, I don't have anything for this record, which is weird because I think she would have written at least one song for the record, but she could have contributed vocal parts, harmony vocals, whatever. She could have done something to show that the team was bigger than her. But what Buckingham said out loud was basically she's not really a team player. It's all about her. Now that she can pack a stadium without the help of the band, she would rather do that. She'd rather hang with Harry Styles. No offense to Harry Styles. But that is her thing now, which is kind of weird. You've got peers in your age group who, again, wanted to maybe go out with a bang and record a really good album. And by the way, that Buckingham McVie album is still fantastic. It's still great. It didn't get the exposure it should have gotten because it wasn't a Fleetwood Mac album. The power of the brand, and Stevie Nicks knows this, is more important these days than, great music under a different name. This is why bands are constantly fighting for these names that have been around for decades, whether you're the Guess Who or Quiet Riot or any of the bands that are down to 0 original members, one of which I will refrain from mentioning here, but it's one that I've been talking about off and on through the years. Everybody is fighting for the name because the name ends up being more important than the membership, apparently. So what's interesting, though, that Lindsey Buckingham at the time had the humility to try to not, sort of ruffle a lot of feathers when he was doing those interviews right after he got fired. He pretended, hey, I have no idea why this is happening to me at this moment. And it's too bad because we could have done this, this, and this. He knew exactly what was happening, but he wanted to not go public and, air all the dirty laundry. And so now he's aired out a lot of that laundry, and apparently it all comes down to Stevie Nicks. Her attitude toward recording, the fact that she was jealous of his onstage persona and must have said something. I mean, again, he's having an outer body experience. There are a few performers in rock history. I think of a couple like Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison comes to mind as well. There's a little bit of a similarity between Jim Morrison and Lindsey Buckingham. And there are probably others. You've probably seen concerts where you were just like, what is this dude doing? I mean, it just became, or woman, it just became so intense and almost a little uncomfortable. And watching Lindsey Buckingham, sometimes I feel a little uncomfortable, like he's having his own thing. All right. And I'm not really a part of this, and it's just kind of weird, but he's that intense And you can't bottle that and sell it because it just, again, few performers are that wedded to their art in a way where they write something and then they try to express it. And many of those things have to do with relationships. I think it's back from 1982. There's a clip where Lindsey and Stevie are on stage, and Lindsey's basically preaching to her during the song and looking at her, and she's looking at him, and it's crazy. It's like they're communicating back and forth about the things that happened during their relationship, and people are commenting on the video like, wow, this is a sort of this public romantic feud on stage using the music of this band. And yeah, Fleetwood Mac has capitalized on, this emotional turmoil, and they even sold it during the last tour like, hey, we're always changing, you never know what's going to happen. But remember, on the last tour they were selling us this idea of casual chemistry. I'll never forget that article. Stevie Nicks, this is why I think some of these writers might have been fed talking points. Not all of them, some of them, because it was mostly favorable. And when they were writing about Stevie Nicks and Neil Finn having this casual chemistry, you could almost see like Stevie Nicks writing this and saying, this is far better than watching Lindsey Buckingham have some kind of a conniption on stage or whatever. I mean, I don't know. That's probably not the right word. Or a meltdown or whatever, because he's so emotional and so into his own music, where you've got this mild-mannered man from down under who, just a nice man, and we're going back and forth, and we still have chemistry, but it's casual. It's relaxed. It's not so intense. How many rock fans want less intense? I mean, there are some. I mean, again, it can make you feel a little uncomfortable watching this, but you're also going to stare at it like it's a car wreck too. You're going to be like, what was that? Even if afterwards you're like, man, that Lindsey, he's a little unhinged up there, huh? But you watched it and you got your money's worth, So Lindsey Buckingham, to his credit, I think, tried to be diplomatic back when they fired him. And now he's basically like, okay, here's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. And for Stevie Nicks and her fans, I think they really have to come to grips with the idea that it's more about Stevie than it is about Fleetwood Mac. I mean, if you love Fleetwood Mac, you would hope that it would be a team effort. But there's competition. And sometimes competition is good, like for songwriting and on stage being, a better performer. But if she feels as though she can't rise to that level anymore, then I would just say, well, you do your thing and I'll try to keep up with you. But don't get mad if I can't, or I'm not going to worry about not being able to do what I used to do, or not feeling the same kind of passion that you have for this music. Especially at your age where you're like, 72 years old or something, and you're thinking, you know what, just as you get older, you're kind of like, screw it. I mean, I can't do that stuff like I used to. Lindsey Buckingham can, Mickey Thomas can. There are a few other people out there who defy logic and gravity and do things at their age that you wouldn't imagine them being able to do, whether it's playing an instrument or singing. But in any event, Lindsey Buckingham, yeah, he certainly aired out the dirty laundry, and saying the quiet part out loud these days is a rare thing. So I give him credit for that. My guess is he's got nothing left to lose, and apparently at least he's repaired his relationship with Mick Fleetwood. And who knows? That might evolve into something. And if there's enough money, maybe Stevie Nicks will get involved again.